Hi viewers, we are going to discuss a situation related to project issue management in this video. I am Mentor Tuba and listen to this video till the end to understand the full context. Let me read out the scenario first. As a project manager, you are facilitating a governance meeting to update board members on the progress of your project. A key stakeholder states that the project no longer looks viable from a business lens and should be terminated. What should you do first? A, update the issue log. B, let the project sponsor decide. C, terminate the project. And D, meet with the key stakeholder. See, this is a situation where the project manager is sitting in a governance board meeting like health check review or phase gate review or business case review, or maybe just like a regular meetup with a governance meeting where this conversation happens that a key stakeholder is not happy with the project and would uh, want the governance to issue this directive that it should not be continued anymore. So as a project manager, what is the very first thing for you to do? Very first thing, because multiple things can be done from the option list in this regard, but the very first thing. So let's check the option choices one by one. A, update the issue log. This looks nice. Why? Because this is a situation as of now, right? This is a situation which has not been anticipated earlier, most likely, and accordingly, the situation is of an issue type. And yes, the very first thing by the project manager is to qualify it as an issue and to update it in the issue log, and then later on proceed with the issue resolution with the governance and the other key stakeholders of it. So we are going to keep A, and we are going to proceed with the other options choices to check that if we have a better choice than A. Please keep in consideration that the assumption that a key stakeholder like sponsor or maybe the chairman of the governance board or maybe a regulatory member or someone who is influential, because key stakeholder most likely is an influential or politically powerful one. We cannot make this assumption that just because he's saying we just proceed with the premature project closure and the project is not going to be viable anymore. Yes, his uh, opinion, his viewpoint matters, but that's going to be verified and validated as per the process as well. Just because one person is saying does not warrant that, and that person is powerful, I understand it, but powerful and influential, but it doesn't warrant that you just right away proceed with the termination and the closure activities of the project. No. So accordingly, let's check the other options. B, let the project sponsor decide. Eventually, if there is a substance in this issue and in this opinion by the key stakeholder, then based on the further findings with the project team, stakeholder, and governance members, the project manager will eventually lend to this decision that yes, actually, the key stakeholder is right about it, and the project does not make a strategic sense anymore and should be discontinued. However, like I said, there's going to be a process for it. Just because in a meeting this opinion popped up would not warrant that the project manager would continue with that. Right? So B is going to be the ultimate last step in the process if this opinion or this viewpoint is 100% valid. Eventually, the project termination or closure is decided by the project sponsor. We know this. However, as the first step, this is not going to be the right thing, right? So B is not the first thing to do and accordingly out of the option list. C, terminate the project. The project manager alone is not the authority to terminate the project. The project manager, after doing his RCA and the other type of analysis, may or may not reach to this conclusion that project should not be terminated. And in this case as well, it is not his it is not his decision. It could be only his suggestion to the steering committee, to the project governance board or the project steering committee. That's it. So project manager alone cannot terminate the project, and definitely this is not going to be the first thing to do. Accordingly, C is out. D, meet with the key stakeholder. Now this makes sense, right? So we are now left with option A and D. Option A is good and option D is also good, because this is a matter with one key stakeholder, right? It's not like every other person in the governance board meeting saying the same thing. So this makes all sense that the project manager after the meeting have an offline session with the stakeholder to understand his viewpoint and to get to the point that why this opinion, what's the cause of it, how it does it impact from the stakeholders' perspective, and then maybe proceed with the further process. So D makes a lot of sense as well. However, again, this is exactly what this whole conversation is about. That what is the first thing to do? The first thing to do is first to qualify the situation as an issue, right? Because it was not anticipated as a risk and it directly comes to you as an issue, like an unknown. So it has to qualify in the issue law. Meeting with the key stakeholder is part of the issue resolution, right? So after updating the issue log, maybe the very first step towards the issue resolution is meeting with the key stakeholder to understand his perspective in detail to proceed with the follow-up process. And we are expected to come up with the very first thing to do after knowing the situation. So between A and D, A is the right thing to do to qualify and to consider the situation as an issue in the issue log. Later on, update the relevant stakeholders about it, and then a meeting with a stakeholder and having an interview with him. And then if the project manager finds some material, some solid material in his claim, then proceed with the further process. Otherwise, the project manager is going to dissolve that claim and inform the steering members and the other stakeholders about it, that this issue is no longer valid anymore. But, so this is the process. And the very first thing in this process, the step number one is to update the issue log so that everyone in the project is aware of the situation. Right? You cannot hold this thing to your own self as a project manager until there is a good reason for it. Right? So I hope you like this explanation. And if you do, please do not forget to like this video. Do not forget to subscribe our channel as well. I will be back very soon with a new PMP scenario. Till then, take care. Goodbye.